Fellow auto detailers, welcome to the show that features interviews with today's most successful auto detailers. This is the Auto Detailing Podcast. Here's your host, Jimbo Balaam.
Today, guys, I'm excited to share with you something that has completely transformed the way I do business, and that is my new best friend. It's a customer relationship management software, or CRM for short, by the Better Software Company, or for short, B-Pro. B-Pro is the #1 all-inclusive small business management solution. Customer revenue is the lifeblood of any small business. We've talked about that a lot on the show. And that's why B-Pro comes with a variety of features to help you boost your business, including email marketing. Anyone want to do that? How about lead generation? We talked a lot about that at the Detailer Marketing Bootcamp. Opportunity management. How about all those quotes that you give out? How about following up on those? B-Pro will even remind you when a customer is likely ready to buy from you again. How about that? So a customer comes in for a detail. Hey, maybe in a few months, the software reminds you to follow up with that customer. Imagine that. B-Pro has everything you need to run your auto detailing business in one easy-to-use solution. From customer management, invoicing, inventory, for you guys that have a shop that sell products and detail cars, orders, scheduling, timesheets, all on one platform. B-Pro has you covered. Only B-Pro offers the same functionality on your smartphone as on your laptop. So imagine that. You're out on the road, you're out in the field, you're at your shop, wherever you are, everything's in the cloud. So it's all the same no matter where you are. Get started today by going to thebettersoftwarecompany.com. That's thebettersoftwarecompany.com. Tell them you heard about them from Jimbo on the Auto Detailing Podcast. It'll make them happy. You'll get the special treatment. Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome to episode 240 of the Auto Detailing Podcast. I'm Jimbo, your host. Welcome inside my mobile recording studio. Now, I'm going to try to get right to the content today because I've got a lot of people complaining about that I like to babble. And I understand. But if that's you that complains about babbling, go ahead and hit that 30-second fast forward button or just scroll the little cursor thing over and you could skip over all my babbling. And if you miss out on something good, hey, that's on you. So anyway, today I want to talk about a subject that's a little bit out of my depth, but not too bad because I've had plenty of experience with it, even though I don't currently do it. And that's dealership work. And the question I get so often is, should I do dealer work? Now, this question comes from mainly guys that are just getting into detailing. But it also comes from guys that have been detailing for a while, and more specifically, guys that are in areas that have harsh winters. Should I do dealer work? Now, before we get into that, you may be new to detailing, and this may be the first podcast you've ever listened to about detailing. So you're thinking, what's the big deal? And what is dealer work? What does that mean? And what's the big deal about it? So dealer work would be doing cars for either dealerships selling new and used cars or those mom and pop dealerships that are reselling used cars that have been bought from the auction or from a auction house typically. So, and then within dealer work, there are the guys that just do the lot washes, which in my area, a lot of dealerships have brought that in-house. But there are still some independent contractors that do just lot washes on the new and used cars. To say it's a car wash is a little bit far-fetched because it's pretty much a rinse. And so it's where a truck will go around, has a ginormous water tank typically, and usually a few guys, one guy, and all they're pretty much doing is rinsing the car and wiping it down. That's it. Usually not, suds involved or a rinse, soap, rinse. I would venture to say almost 100% of the time there's definitely not going to be a 2-bucket method, if any bucket at all, going on. Typical price for a service like that to a dealer in my area would be $1 per car. Again, it's pretty much going to... I knew one guy that was doing it, and there was actually two of them. They would... one guy would be a head rinsing with DI water. the guy would be following behind him with a chamois, and they just, boom, knock out 400 or 500 cars a day, which, if you think about it, $400 or $500 a car, or $400 to $500 a day if you're getting $1 a car. Though that's a ton of freaking physical labor, that's not too shabby of a day. And honestly, I've known one of those guys. I've noticed a lot of dealers bringing that in-house and just having kind of a junky car do that. But depending on what area you're in of the world, may be different in your area. So that may be something, if you're interested in that, maybe one route that you may be able to go into. And there are so many, just a side note, there's so many different roads that you could go down to with dealer work. So honestly, this is more so my opinion on it, and what I've seen from seeing hundreds and hundreds of you guys, or detailers in general, across the globe, and kind of talking with talking with some of them, seeing most of them through Facebook and see how they roll. And then again, my insight and experience with that. Another area of dealer work that I've done is I was working for a vintage Porsche dealership local to me with a couple different locations. And what they were paying me to do was essentially wipe down the cars because they stayed in a showroom most of the time. And I was there once a week, and they were willing to pay $5 a car basically for a wipe down and clean the windows. They just wanted the car to not have dust on it. If a client came in to look at the car, they just didn't want it to be dusty. I'd go there once a week, and they complained a lot about $5 a car. And for me, it was borderline worth it. But again, you could get it done pretty quickly with a lot of the modern technology with car cleaning products today. So, they had about 30 to 40 cars, maybe more than that, upwards of 50 cars, and you could usually knock it out in a couple hours. Again, you could be profitable with that. But the conclusion that I came to was it was a lot of physical labor. And more than that, the guys were really extremely difficult to work with and very cheap, which brings me to my next point, is that dealers are usually cheap. Very, very cheap. Very cheap. I'm talking $90 for, I'll use Nelson, who I had on the show, who is managing 25 dealerships. And I talked to him about the price per car that he was getting. And don't take my word on it because I don't know if it's exact. But in the ballpark of, I would say $75 to $100 per car. Now, you're saying, $75 to $100 per car, that's not bad. That is a full interior shampooing with a full exterior buff, not paint correction, buff, and wet sand where needed. So if that's a one-man guy, that's upwards of an all-day project on cars that are usually pretty beat. I mean, the dealer's not sending you the car to get detailed because it's in great condition, because dealers are looking to cut costs wherever they can. So if they cannot send you a car, they're saving that $100. So these cars are beat, generally. So, and the experience has been the same for me, whereas I was at a local, bigger dealership. It was a Jeep dealership. And I knew a guy at the body shop that worked there, and he was trying to bring me in to do some of the detailing there. But again, he wanted a full shampooing, full exterior buff job on one of the owner's daughter's car or something like that. And they were haggling at $100. And finally, I just walked and said I couldn't do that. Ended up doing a wash clay wax for $100. And it took me 6 months to get paid for that $100. So there's that too. Dealers are normally going to pay on a net 30 or a net 60. So you're not, unlike retail work, you're not going to be getting paid the same amount of money, or you're not going to be getting paid that day. So not only are you having to discount your services, but you're also having to wait to get paid on the services that you already did. So for you guys that are running leaner operations, that could put you in a really serious cash flow pinch if you need working capital to keep going and you've already completed work. If you have guys, they've been tied up, you're having to pay them out weekly, but yet you as the business owner, you're not getting paid for those 30 or 60 days from the date of completion of that service if no hiccups are involved. So for me, what happened was trying to track down $100 for 6 months. There's these POs and ROs and invoices that have to go to this person, and then that person has to give you a separate ticket that you then take over to another person. And so, as you can see, this kind of rabbit trail starts of like, who do you need to talk to? And you can get lost in this cog of trying to chase down your money, which again turns into additional headaches, additional time that you're going to have invested in tracking down your money, thus bringing down the dollar per hour that you're making per detail. So with Nelson, I know what happens with him is he has all his guys broken down to they're being paid per unit. So they look at each car as a unit, and each person working on that car makes a set amount of money per unit. So he has figured it out to where he's making X amount of dollars per unit. And then really dealership work is a volume game. That's what it comes down to, is that you may not be making a lot per car, but you may have, 100, 200, 300, 400 cars a month rolling through at that. And then the part I don't like about it is you're working within really tight parameters. And here is one of the biggest downfalls and biggest red flags about dealer work that I see is that if someone undercuts you, you're out. So you're doing full details for $95. Well, if the next guy comes around and says he can do it for $75 or even $65, you're out, because the dealership is basically just looking at, or not all dealerships, but some dealerships are just going to be looking at their hard cost, cut you out, and that potentially could be a huge loss for you. Where I see guys killing it with dealership work, because I don't want to throw over the blanket that all dealership work is bad. I think that's a dangerous statement to make, because I honestly see guys doing high-level work, being paid high level, equal to retail work, but with dealer work, and making it work really well for them and using it. Here's where I love it. They are using it to fill in the gaps from the slow times. And that's where I think it could be brilliant, because as we all know, as business owners, or if you're working in an area where weather is a big factor, obviously I don't have that issue working in Southern California, but hey, if you work where the weather gets really crappy some parts of the year, dealer work may be something that you want to really consider. Because while the retail market or the normal consumer may say, hey, it's a freaking blizzard outside, there's no way in hell I'm getting my car detailed or paying for it, the dealer may be actually moving cars and need cars detailed. So that is where I see guys really killing it. And then you can really incorporate, especially if you're targeting used cars, you could really incorporate and just sub out, I would suggest, leather repair, vinyl repair, seat repair, maybe bumper painting, maybe spot painting, rim repair. That's where you can incorporate all those services. Now, this won't work as smoothly or as well with mobile guys unless you can work on the dealer premises, which may be a factor. Where I see it working best is where guys have shops located by auction houses, dealerships, where it's convenient for the dealer to have the car at the detailer's shop. Then for the detailer, you could bring all that stuff in-house. You could sub it out as needed to the different repairs, say for a bumper touch-up or a leather repair, something like that, headliner repair, vinyl repair, whatever. That's really where I see it being the sweet spot. And keeping the prices as close to your retail price as possible, and you can really leverage those other services to get the work in-house, because the dealer's not going to want to bring the car around to 4 or 5 different places to get prepped for sale if they could just drop it off at one place. So you could really become the auto reconditioner to the dealer. And that's where, if you could get into that spot, you got a shop centrally located to a auction house, a bunch of dealerships, and then you can work it in with your regular retail customers, so you're essentially getting the best of both worlds. That's where I really feel like you would be able to capitalize and benefit and be profitable with dealer work. Because I think that's where everyone drops the ball, is they automatically think, and dealer work has this really bad rep of being like, oh, you can't make any money doing dealer work. True statement, but to throw a blanket statement on it like that just isn't correct. It's also not correct that all dealer work is junk cars. When I was doing a small dealership, I was working on $100,000 cars up to $500,000 cars, and even a couple super rare $1 million cars. So, and it wasn't huge volume, but it was volume enough. And even with those really, really expensive cars, the guys running the dealership were just really cheap. So, and at the time, I wasn't able to, and didn't have the skill set, because I take responsibility for not doing that dealership anymore. Yeah, the guys were dicks and super difficult to work with, but I didn't have the business acumen and the skill set to accurately maneuver around their personality type to continue with our relationship, nor did I, and here's what it really comes down to. I personally don't like doing dealer work myself, and didn't have the smarts to kind of farm it out, but yet still keep the account, or to become even more profitable. And they didn't, actually that dealership went from paying me per unit, they wanted to pay me per hour that I was there, and then wanted to pay me a day's wage per day, and each time they wanted to do that, it was essentially to pay me less and less. So it really got to a point to where they didn't want to pay me to do it. They could hire someone else to do it for half the price of what I was willing to do. And at that point, it just became a numbers game for them, and we severed the relationship, which can happen. So, but to throw blanket statements like dealership isn't profitable, you're a hack if you're doing dealer work, that's just something that I feel is a pretty ignorant statement. So, if you're a single man mobile detailer, dealer work probably isn't something that you should look into. But if you have a shop and you have some downtime, you're located by some dealers or an auction house, and you're looking to fill in those gaps of time to keep your guys busy, why not take on some dealer work? Even if you're looking at $100 a car, say you got 3 guys working in a shop, and they got an hour's worth of time to spare, why not throw in some dealer cars then, or at least try to? And again, leverage the other things that need to be fixed on a car that's being bought from the auction, that need to be done to the car before it is ready to sell. So that may be some light mechanical work. I don't know. That may be vinyl repair or leather repair or carpet dyeing, or other minor cosmetic stuff, front bumper repair, rear bumper repair, rim repair, window tinting, or stripping the window tint. All those little things if you're looking at getting into the dealership stuff, make it so that you're the one-stop shop. Windshield repair, windshield chip repair. Make sure all the dealer has to do is bring the car to you, and then it can go from you to ready to be sold. So it essentially can go auction house, you, boom, on their lot. That's really what I want to get across on this podcast is become that. So you're more of an asset, and if the dealer starts shopping around other detailers, you are not just a detailer. You're more than a detailer to the dealer. You're the reconditioner. So you really, your business is going to have to pivot. So if you're looking at getting into dealer work, I hope that gains some insight that the prices will be, and this is why I don't like dealer work, and it doesn't have to be like this. So none of the stuff I said has to apply. I would constantly look for the unconventional way to land the deal, or the unconventional way to get the job done for the dealer. And it is going to be a different animal because dealers aren't used to paying retail prices. And there's one angle that you could be pretty unconventional with is you can say, hey, look, I'm not a conventional detailer. I'm a reconditioner, so my prices are going to be higher. So maybe for the detail aspect of it, you're making less money than you would for a retail detail, but yet you make it up on the rim repair, or you make it up on the bumper, respraying the bumper, or respraying the door, or something along those lines. You're making it up on some other service, and essentially just moving figures around. So there's that. So I would encourage you, if you're looking at getting into dealer work, even if you are a one-man mobile guy, try it out. Because if you never try it out, you'll never have the experience that all the other people have that tell you not to do it. So I would encourage you to research, and if you want, there's a couple guys that follow me, or I follow them, or whatever, that do dealer work, and I feel like they do dealer work really well. And so if you want me to pass on their name to you, feel free to reach out to me, and I'd love to pass you their way, because there are a couple guys that I watch that just they seem to have a lock on the dealer and retail operation, and that's fun. So I hope you guys enjoyed that. Again, just kind of from another listener submitted questions about dealer work, and it's definitely a subject that gets talked about a lot, and that is, should I do dealer work? Hope you guys enjoyed that one.
Thanks for listening to another episode of the Auto Detailing Podcast. Head on over to autodetailingpodcast.com for full show notes and links of everything that we've talked about today. And don't forget to check out our resources page for a direct link to all the products talked about not only on today's episode, but that I use in my day-to-day detail business. They have direct links so you can purchase and get free shipping right from that page. That's autodetailingpodcast.com. We'll see you on the next episode.